Hey guys, Aaron Dorr here with Wyoming Gun Owners. By now you've heard the news. Our liar-in-chief Governor Mark Gordon has broken his campaign promise, made himself a liar here in Wyoming, and vetoed House Bill 125. Where do things stand? Is there any good news? And where do we go from here, guys? I'm going to break it all down for you right now. But if you're low on time, whatever else you do, take 30 seconds, hit the link above or below this video, and send your pre-written email to your state senator and your state rep, urging them to support the call for a special session here in Wyoming to override Governor Gordon's veto of House Bill 125. Whatever else you do, hit that link and make your voice heard. So here's the good news first. The good news is that on late Friday night, Governor Gordon signed Senate File 109. This was WIGO's legislation to ban the use of red flag gun seizures here in Wyoming forever. The bill is a first of its kind in the country. It makes it very clear you have to have a disqualifying offense before your guns ever be taken away. The idea of your ex-spouse calling some liberal judge and saying you might be dangerous and having your guns taken away, that will never happen here in Wyoming, because WIGO members like you made that happen with Senate File 109. That is the good news, and we're very proud of that, because not only is it great for Wyoming as a first of its kind in America, it can be and will already be implemented or mimicked, rather, by red states across the country as the way to fight back in their states to oppose dreaded red flag gun seizures. That's the good news, but that's the only good news. The bad news, as you've all heard by now, is that Mark Gordon vetoed House Bill 125 at around 8:40 p.m. on Friday night. Total coward. The end of the media cycle, the end of the work week, 8:40 p.m. The announcement goes out. He vetoed HB-125. I'm going to discuss what that means. But first, I just want to be very clear on this. You know, a lot of people love Wyoming because this is one of the last places, one of the last states where we believe that a man's word actually counts for something. You know, when someone says to you, I'll do this, you expect he's going to do it, because people keep their word here. When someone shakes your hand and says, I'll be there, you know he's going to be there, because a man's word is still his bond in Wyoming. But that is not the case with Governor Mark Gordon. Mark Gordon has now proven himself to be a liar, because don't forget, when he ran for governor in 2018, the first time, Mark Gordon signed the WIGO candidate survey, 100% pro-gun, and the first question we asked him on the survey, and you can see it for yourself, it's in the comments, it's all over our website right now. The first question we asked him was, if elected governor, would you sign or veto legislation that would repeal deadly gun-free zones here in Wyoming? He said he would sign the bill, and now when the bill was on his desk, he broke his word and vetoed that bill. Shame on you, Mark. Shame on you. So, folks, what that means is that the current policies that enable deadly gun-free zones in places like the state capitol, UW, our schools, and places that hold governmental meetings, those locations remain in gun-free zones, so-called. That means that madmen, bloodthirsty killers can carry there, but you and I have to disarm first. And we all know how asinine that is, because it is these areas where bloodthirsty predators always go to get a body count. So that's what Gordon's veto did. It's an absolute win for killers, for wannabe murderers. It's a win for WHAM. It's a win for Everytown for gun safety. It's a win for the Teachers Association. All these freedom-hating lobby organizations here in Cheyenne, they got a big win. But gun owners, we got stabbed in the back by our liar-in-chief, Governor Mark Gordon. So that's the bad news. Now, what do we do about it? That's the question. Well, here's some good news. So it's pretty simple. All we have to do is call for a special session of the legislature to convene to then override the veto of Governor Mark Gordon. And the great thing is that there's multiple ways to do this. Option number one is Governor Gordon can call for a special session. Somehow, we doubt he's willing to do that. Option number two, spelled out in Article 3, Section 7, Romanet number 1 of the Wyoming State Constitution, is the legislature itself can call for a special session with a simple majority vote in both chambers. That's it. And so what that means is that if 16 members of the Senate join this call for a special session, and if 32 members of the House join that call, then whether they want to or not, Speaker Summers and Senate President Driscoll must convene that special session. And I want to be clear, there's also a third option that we're not going to discuss right now. There's 3 different ways to do this, but the easiest way, Article 3, Section 7, Romanet number 1, allows for a simple majority vote in both chambers to get this done. And that's why it is critical that you hit that link beneath or above this video and contact your state senator and your state rep and tell them we want you to convene a special session. All session long, people were asking me, and I mean senators, representatives, reporters, other lobbyists, pundits, they're like, Aaron, why are these gun bills sailing so quickly through the legislature? I mean, Senate File 109, 31-0 vote. HB-125, massive support in both chambers. Why is this happening? And I knew the reason why it was happening. It's because WIGO members have been utterly ferocious in the primaries going back to 2018. And WIGO members like you guys have thrown out countless anti-gun RINO Republicans who voted against your gun rights. And after we won a massive court victory, first in federal district court, then in federal circuit court, everyone here in Cheyenne knows that WIGO is free to do what we do best at election time: expose the records and the votes of RINOs who vote against the Second Amendment. And so these guys voted the right way on this bill in almost every case. But deep down, a lot of people speculated throughout the session that the fix was in the entire time on House Bill 125. And the theory goes like this: these RINOs vote for the bill on the floor because they know that WIGO members are watching and will hold them accountable. And then old RINO Mark Gordon, a liar, will then cover them by vetoing the bill. So the policy dies and they have cover, they hope, at election time. We're not going to fall for that. Folks, as far as we are concerned, the vote or the public support or lack thereof for the question of a special session here in Wyoming this year is the gun vote of 2024. And that is what your message needs to be to your senator and your state rep. You know what? I'm happy you voted yes on the gun bills. Yeah, that's great. But what matters is what you do now. Because, folks, over the next 3 days, we're going to find out whether or not we have the 16 votes in the Senate and 32 votes in the House. And if we don't have those votes, anybody who opposed that effort will be listed as being hostile to our Second Amendment freedoms. It is that simple. This is not a big lift. 16 votes in the Senate should not be hard. 32 votes in the House should be doable, but they have got to hear from you guys right away. Look, I realize there could be folks who are on vacation after a session. I get that. There could be others who try to hide behind the canard of, well, we don't want to spend the people's money. Look, if there's any purpose, if there's ever a time to spend taxpayer dollars to convene session, it is to expand freedom by overriding the veto of our cheap political prostitute Governor Mark Gordon on House Bill 125. Now is the time to get this done. It also doesn't need to take that long. Many states that do override veto sessions do it in 1 day. So there's no mandate that it takes 7 days, 10 days, 2 weeks to get this done. It could be very quick. Come in, come out, cast the vote, and go home. So, guys, there is a solution. There is a plan in place. Article 3, Section 7, it spells it all out. The question now is, will your senator, will your state rep do the right thing and join this call? Guys, make your voice heard. Hit the link, send your email, and watch our Facebook page for more. We're going to release these names one by one on social media when we have senators or reps who we know are publicly supporting the effort to call for the session to override Mark Gordon's veto. Guys, much more to come. Join the fight today at joinwygo.com.